Ezekiel chapter 36. And you, son of man, prophesy to the mountains of Israel. And you have said, O mountains of Israel, hear a word of Yahweh. Thus said Lord YHWH, because the enemy said against you, Aha, the high places of old have also become our possession. Therefore prophesy, and you have said, Thus said Lord YHWH, even because of desolating, and of swallowing you up from all around for your being a possession to the remnant of the nations, and you are taken up on the tip of the tongue, and are an evil report to the people. Therefore, O mountains of Israel, hear a word of Lord YHWH. Thus said Lord YHWH to mountains and to hills, to streams and to valleys, and to ruins that are desolate, and to cities that are forsaken, that have been for a prey and for a scorn, to the remnant of the surrounding nations. Therefore, thus said Lord YHWH, have I not, in the fire of my jealousy, spoken against the remnant of the nations and against Edom, all of it, who gave my land to themselves for a possession, with the joy of the whole heart, with despite of the soul, for the sake of casting it out for a prey? Therefore prophesy concerning the ground of Israel. And you have said to the mountains and to the hills, to the streams and to valleys, Thus said Lord YHWH, Behold, I, in my jealousy and in my fury, have spoken, because you have borne the shame of nations. Therefore, thus said Lord YHWH, I have lifted up my hand. Do the nations who are surrounding you not bear their own shame? And you, O mountains of Israel, you give out your branch, and you bear your fruits for my people Israel, for they have drawn near to come. For behold, I am for you, and have turned to you, and you have been tilled and sown. And I have multiplied men on you, all the house of Israel, all of it. And the cities have been inhabited, and the ruins are built. And I have multiplied man and beast on you, and they have multiplied and been fruitful. And I have caused you to dwell according to your former states, and I have done better than at your beginnings, and you have known that I am Yahweh. And I have caused man to walk over you, my people Israel, and they possess you, and you have been their inheritance, and you no longer add to bereave them. Thus said Lord YHWH, because they are saying to you, You are a devourer of men, and you have been a bereaver of your nations. Therefore you no longer devour man, and you do not cause your nations to stumble any more. A declaration of Lord YHWH. And I do not proclaim the shame of the nations to you any more, and you no longer bear the reproach of peoples, and your nations do not stumble any more. A declaration of Lord YHWH. And there is a word of YHWH to me, saying, Son of man, the house of Israel are dwelling on their land, and they defile it by their way and by their doings. Their way has been as the uncleanness of a separated one before me. And I pour out my fury on them for the blood that they shed on the land, and they have defiled it with their idols. And I scatter them among nations, and they are spread through lands. According to their way, and according to their doings, I have judged them. And one goes to the nations where they have gone, and they defile my holy name, by saying to them, These are the people of Yahweh, and they have gone forth from his hand. And I have pity on my holy name, that the house of Israel has defiled among the nations to where they have gone in. Therefore say to the house of Israel, Thus said Lord YHWH, I am not working for your sake, O house of Israel, but for my holy name, that you have defiled among the nations to where you have gone in. And I have sanctified my great name that is profaned among the nations, that you have defiled in your midst. And the nations have known that I am Yahweh, a declaration of Lord YHWH, and my being sanctified in you before your eyes. And I have taken you out of the nations, and have gathered you out of all the lands, and I have brought you into your land. And I have sprinkled clean water over you, and you have been clean. I cleanse you from all your uncleanness, and from all your idols. And I have given a new heart to you, and I give a new spirit in your midst, and I have turned aside the heart of stone out of your flesh, and I have given a heart of flesh to you, and I give my spirit in your midst, and I have done this, so that you walk in my statutes, and you keep my judgments, and have done them. And you have dwelt in the land that I have given to your fathers, and you have been to me for a people, and I am to you for God. And I have saved you from all your uncleanness, and I have called to the grain, and multiplied it, and I have put no famine on you. And I have multiplied the fruit of the tree, and the increase of the field, so that you do not receive a reproach of famine among nations any more. And you have remembered your ways that are evil, and your doings that are not good, and have been loathsome in your own faces for your iniquities and for your abominations. I am not working for your sake, a declaration of Lord YHWH. Be it known to you, be ashamed and confounded because of your ways, O house of Israel. Thus said Lord YHWH, in the day of my cleansing you from all your iniquities, I have caused the cities to be inhabited, and the ruins have been built, and the desolate land is tilled, instead of which it was a desolation before the eyes of everyone passing by. And they have said, this land that was desolated has been as the Garden of Eden, and the cities, the dried up and the desolated and the broken down, fortified, have remained. And the nations who are left around you have known that I, YHWH, have built the thrown down. I have planted the desolated. I, YHWH, have spoken, and I have done it. Thus said Lord YHWH, yet this I am inquired of by the house of Israel to do for them. I multiply them as a flock of men, as a flock of holy ones, as a flock of Jerusalem. In her appointed times, so the dried up cities are full of flocks of man, and they have known that I am YHWH.